So I rarely show boxes or packaging, even impressive boxes, you know, they don't necessarily do it for me, but I wanted to show this. This is from Off-Grid Knives, and all of their boxes I have, this is not my own, but I have 3 of my own Off-Grid knives, and they all come in cool boxes like this that are thematic to whatever the knife is inside. And this is the Seadog version 2 blackout version by Off-Grid Knives. Off-Grid Knives is a great company, American designed knives by a gent named Kerry Orifice. I don't know if that's how he pronounces it, but I know it's an Italian name, and it's that's how I pronounce it. And he designs these really cool hard use knives that he has made by various manufacturers. He's got an elite line that he has manufactured by We Knives, and then sort of the, I don't want to say run of the mill, because they're not, they're fantastic, but his more regular knives are made by Bestech. So 2 great companies out of China manufacturing his really cool designs. So this one, the Seadog version 2, comes to me here at the Knife Junkie channel from our good friend Dave, and he has a channel called This Old Blade Knife Reviews, This Old Sword Blade Reviews on YouTube, and he donated this and another knife to the channel to sell and or auction and put the funds to good use. I'm not sure which I'm going to do. And now that I have this in hand, God, this is one of those knives I want to foster, you know, like I'm a foster parent with a knife. It's like, I don't necessarily want to commit to keeping this forever, but I would love to have it for a while. That being said, now that I've gotten 3 other off-grid knives, I would love to keep this because it would go into a collection, a little sub-collection I have of this brand's knives, but also it's just an outstanding knife. That being said, I have not used this because I intend to unload it, but I'll tell you why I'm going to make the assumption that it's an outstanding knife. First, I'm gonna say it's a trusty manufacturer. Bestech makes amazing knives and does it for a good price and sells them for a good price. And this is really, really functionally an excellent knife. It's on bearings. It's got all of the action you would expect. And then I would say design-wise, this thing kills it. It's a little thick. I would say it's probably 0.6 of an inch thick. It's a little bit thicker than normal, but just ever so slightly. And it's got a heft to it. But it's not heavy. When you carry this thing in your pocket, for me, it disappears. And I'm used to carrying 7-ounce knives on the regular. So this perceived weight of this is pretty light. It grips ergonomically. It feels amazing in hand. And then when you reinforce that grip with your thumb, man. So I think that this blade is called the Seadog because it's sort of evocative of a saber to me. It's got that sort of upswept, sabery kind of Buccaneers kind of knife. But purpose-wise, this thing is all tactical / rescue / duty built. In reverse grip, it's outstanding. You've got this little shelf here between the glass breaker, which I would love to try out, but I'm not going to, and the loop over pocket clip that has countersunk screws, and it creates a shelf here, and I find that a very comfortable place to rest the thumb, despite the fact that you have this pointy glass breaker there. So in reverse grip, it feels great. And it's got this sort of, I don't know if they still call this Anzo, the Anzo pattern, but that sort of like bullet-shaped grooves coming in from either side. This would be an extremely tight Anzo pattern, if indeed it is, named after Jens Anzo, the Danish knife maker. But this texturing feels really, really sure in hand. And if you switch grips with it, you know, there's a tactical interface, that's not what I mean. Tactile feedback the whole way, because you've got these ridges going in this direction, but they're not all uniform. You know, some are parallel in this direction, some are parallel in this direction. So if you're doing this kind of thing where you sort of pinch it and turn it, you can tell where that knife is at all points just from how those little grooves move around in your hand. Yep, there it is, the 800-pound gorilla in the room. This has a secondary lock, which most people bristle at. A secondary lock on my knife. What am I? Some kind of a Mameluke? I can't keep my knife. Well, actually, this one is very, very well done. It's on the off side. It's like on the lock side, even though this is a liner lock. And it's small and discreet and in a great place. You don't feel it at all when it's even if you're squeeze gripping it, you can't feel that it's there at all. But if you need it for whatever reason, you have it, and it just puts a little tab in the way of the lock, which actually I can't quite see, but it retards the movement of the lock and won't allow you to close it. So if you feel like you're really going to be working, I gotta say, if you're going to be working with this knife so hard, in such a hard grip, with such minimal access to that lock, minimal but fine access to that lock, if you think you're going to unlock your knife by the work you're doing and actually require that secondary lock, you need to choose a different tool, man. You need a different tool. So that's my way of saying, that's a backhanded compliment of saying, like, I really think that this thing is strong enough to not worry about that. Now, the one caveat is, ironically enough, if you were to be in a fight or any sort of like tactical knife situation with this thing, the last thing you would want is to go like this and somehow have this fail you and close on your fingers. Then again, with that tab, it would probably just break your pinky before it would fold all the way on your hand. But I mean, for me, that's the only thing I could really think of that you really want that for. Incidentally, it's nice in that grip too. But the curve kind of makes that grip a little less effective. So very, very smooth on bearings. Bestech knows how to make a knife. And man, I got to say, Carrie of Off-Grid Knives knows how to design a knife. This thing is really nice. What is it? 1, 2, 3, and almost a ½ inches long. I guess if you measure from down here, it's 3.5 inch long blade. You've got a pretty nice sized handle. Now, ordinarily, this would get my handle to blade ratio alarm ringing. This is kind of has the para 2 sort of ratio, but you know what? Hey, for a design this great and effective, like that's just strictly shallowness on my part. Plus, as when I was speaking with Carrie, the guy who designed this knife, it also gives you a little room if you're using the glass breaker, so that your hand isn't so close to that glass breaker when you're going to use it. You know, you've got a little bit of space here to back that up. And by the way, empty hand, this feels pretty good in hand. Usually empty hand, I find that folding knives feel better like this, but this one in particular, because of that shape of that blade, feels really good like this. You can see using that. All right, let me get some comparisons out here. So as I mentioned, this is a super robust knife, tactical, hard work, hard use knife. So I grabbed a couple that kind of fall into that category to share with it. First is, well, another little tip of the hat to Off-Grid Knives. This is their Black Stallion, which is, by comparison, svelte. You know, it's a little bit thinner, and just everything about it, including the blade stock, is a little bit lighter. This is a wicked knife. I love this. I'll do a review of this sometime soon. But I just wanted to show that by way of comparison. Here it is with the kind of knife I would put it in the same category with, an AD10 from Cold Steel, a little bit bigger on all counts, but the same sort of girthy, like full grip, hard work knife. Also, this has a hollow grind, just in case I didn't mention that. Here it is with the old Ritter Hogue RSK1 Mark II, I think. The full size right here. And then this knife, oddly enough, this old chestnut really got in my mind once I got the Off-Grid knife in hand, and that's the 0200. It also made me think of the 0300, like these older ZTs. Actually, there's an old ZT that this reminds me of that I don't have. I think it's the 700. It's actually a recurve Tanto, I think, but just sort of a different look, but that same sort of super sturdy build. I mean, so this 0200 is even chunkier, and it's actually contoured if you look at it on this axis. So a lot more work went into this knife back when it was made. This one is in the more affordable line of off-grid knives, and I would feel no remorse or doubt in taking this thing out and thrashing on it. I know it could take it. This is D2 steel, D2. Oh, I apologize. This is Aus-8 steel. Now, Aus-8 can take abuse too. It's got that toughness to it. You know, it'll bend before it breaks, which is great for the kind of knife you're going to take and use hard, you know, out there in the field, as opposed to something that you want to remain somewhat pristine and don't use so much. So, well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, or probably just gentlemen. But ladies, if you're there, I know you like knives. My wife loves knives, and I've had a few friends over the years who dig them too. So in any case, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy it. I will let you know what I'm going to do with it. I'll either sell or auction it at some point coming up here soon. But here it is, your Off-Grid Knives Seadog version 2.